I don't hate anyone enough to kill them. Not like that. Not at all. And that's what it comes down to. You see, religion in itself was provided to give some people things to believe in. And somewhere along the line, it became perverted into an instrument of hatred. It became what I like to call, and I hate to really use this term, but it became a clusterfuck. It became a nuclear weapon of hatred. Because that's what it is. Organized religion, not people in general. And it's ironic because organized religion, its bedrock is supposed to be love. You're supposed to care about each other, and yet, somewhere along the line, that became telescoped into caring only about people who are exactly like you. Bishop T.D. Jakes builds churches that cost $4 million. That is his claim to fame. And is that right? Says your precious Bible says don't build ostentatious shrines to God. But you do it. And this subject just kills me. It drives me insane when I think about this subject, because I think of myself as a logical man. Emotional sometimes, definitely. But I don't you see, I believe that God exists. He has to. That's what I think. But that's what I believe. I don't have to kill anybody in His name. I don't have to hate anybody in His name. I'm bigger than that. Most of you are bigger than that. And we don't have to lie to ourselves about it either. So, you know why this subject just destroys me? Because it's so easily proven. Not that none of this happened. That's all irrelevant. The part that's so easily proven is that neither God nor Jesus cared. Not about, they didn't care about hating somebody, they cared about loving people. That's what it says. And you can give me this 10 Commandments stuff all you want to, but George Carlin already took care of that, so I don't have to do it here. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It's on YouTube, where this video will be, I guess. Where I have the problem is, my biggest problem with all of this is that so many are led over the cliff and down. So many get such a rush out of believing. And the dumbest thing I ever heard, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. No. Adam. Don't forget that. Adam. And guess what? Any woman that recites to me the Adam and Steve thing has to remember that according to that same story, you came from a rib. A rib! And you know what the underlying theme of that story is? That you were second. You were to blame for everything that happens that's bad. It was your idea to give Adam the apple. It was your idea to listen to the serpent. Come on. The first question any logical thinking person would ask themselves is, who the fuck made Adam eat that apple? Was he so stupid that he didn't go, wait a minute, didn't God tell me not to eat from that apple? It's a logical question. I ask it all the time. And I love women, so I'm biased. Sure, I love men. I love women too, though. I think women are the most exquisite creatures in the world. Which is why I have such a problem talking to so many of them, because most of the time it's like, I don't feel I should be talking because you already know more than I do. And it's the truth. See, I know book stuff, but I don't know nothing about birthing no babies. I don't know nothing about raising kids. And most importantly of all, I don't know how to deal with certain things, so it ain't my place. So, let's talk about how flawed this all is. And it's flawed. I'm flawed, you're flawed, they're flawed, we're all flawed. We were never meant to be perfect. That's the true story of that's the true underlying theme of the Garden of Eden story. Up until that time, we were supposed to be perfect. Had no shame or anything. So now the question. You know why the big guy or the big girl, I wasn't there, you ain't there. You don't know, I don't know. You know why that happened? It was a test. We failed the test. But when that happened, it meant we suddenly had the choices that wouldn't have been available to us were we perfect. I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be. I'm way more intelligent than the average man. Even though most of the time I choose to conduct myself not as such, because one of the things I was taught when I was a kid is that excessive performance. What's the word I'm looking for? Let me think. Excessive arrogance. You know, when I was 7 years old, I'd already memorized the CTA transit system. At 7. And yet, to this day, I still know every single stop, bus, whatever. And that isn't because I cheat and look it up. I like history, but I remember everything in here. This big-ass cranium of mine holds a lot of things, but I choose not to show it most of the time because, let's just say my peers back in school kind of let me know that it was cool to be, it wasn't cool to be that smart. And I'm sure some people will back me up on that, some won't, because they didn't see what I saw. Happens. So, what I'm saying is, we were never meant to be perfect. We weren't ever supposed to be perfect, and that is the underlying lesson. And it's a coincidence, by the way, that it just happened to be the woman giving Adam that apple and saying, hey, have a bite of this, because that little snake over there told me that it's all right to have this. Problem. So, let's have the scenario Pope Gregory wanted us to hear, right? Here's the scenario Pope Gregory, all-time idiot, wanted us And St. Paul, let me start on him, wanted us to leave. So, huge authority figure. Do not eat from this tree. You can eat everything else, but not from this tree. And yes, I realize that my authority figure sounds like one of the voiceover guys in a rap video. I know that. Advertising a rap album. I know that. Never mind. Let me try it again. Authority figure. Do not eat from this tree. Conspiracy theory. Now, let's see. Authority figure. Garden of Eden. Don't eat from tree. Not hard. Don't eat from tree. Duh. But then, all of a sudden, the woman who comes along and ruins everything as if says, well, this little serpent told me we shouldn't have ourselves a feast from the tree of knowledge. Now, if you're watching this video, you're a logical person, so I'll ask you. Scenario number 1. Big voice guy. Don't eat from apple. Scenario 2. Tiny little serpent. Hey, that big guy don't know what he's talking about. He created it! Oh, God. I could go on about this literally for hours. Because it's ridiculous. It's simple logic. Big voice guy. Tiny little serpent. Why? Women are size queens. Why would they fucking listen to a tiny little serpent anyway? What the fuck? What kind of story is this, Pope Gregory? What's the matter with you? God. And I'm gonna get off this subject soon because I'll be talking about this until fucking Thursday. I guarantee you. So let's see. What else can I go on about? So let me get back to my original subject. Marriage. So today I had this fortune of, well, actually late last night, just before I went to sleep, and just before I went to sleep, I had the misfortune of reading a comment from Adrian Peterson where he says he's not with gay marriage. Where do I begin? First of all, up until I read that comment, I'd always liked Adrian Peterson. I defended him to the detriment when all that shit went down in Houston. I defended him to the end of logical reason. And then he, like Matt Burke, says, I'm not with this. But Matt Burke had just recited a bunch of gibberish, the same bilge that had been recited by religious douchebags for years. So I'm going to ignore him for now. And then this man says, oh, I have gay relatives, so I can understand, but I'm not with it. I have this thing about athletes that I like. And it goes like this. If I like you, I'll defend you until and unless you do something to warrant that, the loss of that chip, right? If you have gay relatives, why would you want the discrimination to continue? Because that's what this is all about. It's discrimination. All this was about was avoiding discrimination. And by the way, anyone that wants to disagree with me, I suggest you start picking up legal notices from the 80s when gay men would die of AIDS and their loved ones, their family will come in and throw their lover out on the street because he didn't have any legal claim. Or being unable to see your lover at the end of his life because you're not family, you're not married, you're not the spouse. Or losing property, losing stuff that is yours, that you brought together because they have more of a claim and they hated his guts than you do. So disagree with me on that if you dare. Because you will lose that battle. I saw it with my own eyes. I've been part of it. I've had to drag friends out. And I'm talking about the 80s, I'm talking about recent. Look, 2000, 2002. I had to drag friends out. Comfort friends who got screwed over because they weren't legally married. Now, this goof, I'm sorry, I'm letting my emotion get the better of me, so I'm going to try this again. So then, someone with gay relatives should never, if you're committed to them, if you love them, why would you want them to suffer? This is my number one overall why it's wrong to have relatives and not support them. That's my number one overall. Why would you want them to suffer? My brother wouldn't let me suffer. And you know, most of you know my brother. My brother used to be a raging homophobe, and to some extent, he still is. But he loves me enough to know that he loves me enough to allow me to be me. And that's why we are the way we are, me and him. And then this man who I had in this state, which some horseshit magazine named as the gayest state in the country, in one of the most hot button issues of our time, one that in 20 years our children and your children will look back on and laugh and say, God, what backward people you were, like we do with our ancestors from the post-civil rights movement. We look back on them and say, God, they were such backward ass hat people, and you choose to come out on their side? You want to be one of them? You run a football. I'm done. I can't defend you anymore. I can't do it. Because it's not like, I'm not taking this as personally as I would if he had just said, if he just spoke Tim Hardaway. I'm taking it so personally because in my mind, I see it not as a betrayal, but as an acknowledgement that you're one of them. And I didn't want that. I want to believe that today's athlete is not Bob Pettit or Clyde Lovellette. I want to believe that today's athlete is so far ahead of what the NBA was in the early 60s, or as far ahead as the Philadelphia Phillies in the 50s or the 40s. Don't come in here. Don't come in here. I'm talking. I want to believe that people are. I want to believe that people are better than they are. And I'm angry because I feel let down. I feel let down by this. That's why I'm angry. See, at the end of Anne Frank's diary, or the movie version of it, or whatever, Anne Frank said that she wanted to believe there was good in everybody. I want to believe that people can let things be, can let people be. If it's not affecting you, why does it matter? And then you come out and you say this. I could have done without knowing that. Now, I gotta watch Vikings games this year, and I gotta look at him, and I gotta go, what the fuck? Why? Why you? Why not somebody I don't give a shit about? Why not somebody who mattered? Why not somebody who doesn't matter? But no, it had to be the MVP. And now it's all tainted. All of it. Now you're in the same fucking boat as Chris Broussard to me. A useless, Chris Broussard is a useless sack of crap. He's not good at his job, and everyone knows that. Tell me differently. Sucks up to the fucking Lakers. Tell me differently on that one too. And now you're right there with him. I could beat him up because I know more than he does. And the only difference between me and him is he gets paid for it. I don't have to suck up to Kobe Bryant, but he does. And now you're in the same boat with him, Peterson. You're right there with him. You're not part of the solution. You know who's part of the solution? Your fucking former teammate. He's part of the solution. And even the guys that just sit back and don't say shit about it, they're neither part of the solution nor the problem. They're just there. Now you've come out as part of the problem. Yeah, you're not with it. That's fine. You say that now? You say that knowing how many fans you have? How many people? Don't see, this isn't really such a big story per se because it's Peterson. Now, Joe Mauer that came out and said that, and Joe Mauer probably feels the same way. He's not going to say it. Because he knows. He knows his fan base. In these times, you want to be on the wrong side of history? You want to be Eldridge Cleaver? That's what you want to be? The great embarrassment? That's what you want to be? And I dare anybody, any of you, tell me Eldridge Cleaver ain't the great embarrassment. Do that. Tell me that. So I can prove you wrong. Eldridge fucking Cleaver. Rapist. Liar. Tell me he ain't the great embarrassment. So, I feel very strongly about this. I really do. I have no choice. And this isn't something that I'm manufacturing for ratings purposes. No. I actually do feel strong about this. Just as I feel strongly about Matt Burke and his dumb